Now, Paul McCartney wrote a great song, "The Pound is Sinking." Well, I bet even Paul McCartney never thought the pound would sink as low as it has sunk. Banks have had to suspend all housing loans in Britain, and the new Prime Minister, Liz Truss, she is sticking to her Thatcherite guns, that this is the right time to cut taxes. Well, it's the right time for me to chat to none other than broadcaster and author Esther Krakue. Esther, great to see you. How are you?
I'm great, thank you. Thank you for having me.
Okay, so I won't go into your personal finances, but the pound is sinking against the dollar. You can tell us about all that, but obviously the controversy over there at the moment is, should we be cutting taxes, should we not? How is Liz Truss faring, 1 week, 2 weeks into her Thatcherite approach?
Well, Liz Truss and her government have made it clear that there will be no change in direction, which I'm sure is infuriating the sections of our media class and of sort of the Westminster pack that believe that we should be taking our economic policy advice from unelected, institutions like the IMF. I think what people really need to realize is this is a change in orthodoxy that has been long coming. It's not just the pound that has sunk against the dollar, which is unusually strong because the Fed have actually done their job and raised interest rates. It's also the euro, which has fallen even further than the pound against the dollar. What people don't understand is this is actually going to happen in many Western economies. I suspect in Australia, I suspect in many EU countries, what the UK is doing. And it's a switch from, tightening monetary policy and loosening fiscal policy, because what we've had over the last, decade and even preceding that is this system where we've had ridiculously low interest rates, where businesses are borrowing at sort of such a ridiculously cheap rate that it doesn't actually fuel innovation or productivity, and it's kept the economy ticking along. There's really been no growth or dynamism or productivity, and yet our spending has increased. COVID, we borrowed 500 billion pounds, but everyone is making noise about the fact that she's cut taxes for the highest earners, which amounts to 2 billion pounds, which is effectively negligible. It's a complete change in orthodoxy and attitude. The reality is, for all the sort of public services and all the things that we spend money on, we need to be able to finance that. That doesn't come from anywhere. And her strategy is right. We need to grow the economy. Between sort of now and 2010, the economy has grown between 1% to 2%. That is simply not good enough. Our NHS bill keeps growing, our public services bills keep growing, our infrastructure bills keep growing, but the economy isn't. And regardless of where you stand on this issue, we need to grow the economy. Most of the media class here in the UK are talking about sort of redistribution and wealth inequality. With all due respect, I don't care. I don't care about inequality if everyone's life is worse off. I care about everyone's lives getting better. I care about innovation and productivity. I care that most people actually have a stake in society that they can look to and be proud of, as opposed to just harping on about redistribution. Redistribution of what? If our economy is not growing, there's nothing to redistribute.
Exactly. Well, I like you say that. I'm pleased to hear that Liz Truss is not going to change gear. I've thought of a little slogan she could use. I don't know, maybe you could pass it on to her, but I thought something along the lines of "the lady is not for turning," or something like that might work. Yeah. Anyway,
I've heard really good ones. Kamikaze as well for the Chancellor, which has been quite funny.
Very good. Now, listen. Last week we spoke about King Charles, whether he would go woke or not. Well, that was a week's a long time. Esther, he's already gone woke since we last spoke, and he's there talking to Liz Truss about who will be attending COP27, the climate change conference. Yeah. I mean, the last one was a disaster. I don't know why anyone would want to go to COP27. But anyway, what do you make of this? Are the British public going, "Oh, hang on, Charles, you're not supposed to be going down this path," or are they going, "Oh, yes, thank goodness we have a woke king"?
I mean, if Prince Charles wants to continue, well, King Charles, pardon. If he wants to continue this sort of push for I know. If he wants to keep this push towards sort of green issues, that's fine. But, you know, there are consequences of that. You are stepping in political territory. You know, people's cost of living is going up astronomically. There's a huge swath of this country that thinks net zero is suicidal and undemocratic because we didn't vote for it. You know, you have to be careful. One thing I would say is, for all of King Charles's faults, I think the Prince and Princess of Wales make up for it quite nicely. They've just had a recent tour of Wales and it's been very, very well received by the public. So I think, you know, that pair offsets a lot of King Charles's blunders.
Well, I hope
and it
so.
makes us feel like at least the monarchy is in safe hands.
I hope so. I hope you're right. But I have worries about wills as well. But anyway, this is a different story. Speaking of woke, reality dance contest Strictly Come Dancing on the BBC. That's gone woke as well, according to The Telegraph. The woke box-ticking exercise, they call it. But apparently it ain't going so well. Tell us, we've only got a few seconds left, but tell us why Strictly Come Dancing is struggling being woke.
Well, because, no one wants to see ballroom dancing with non-traditional pairs. I mean, the whole point of ballroom and Latin dancing is the dynamic between the masculine and the feminine. You don't really get that sort of dynamic when you see two men dancing the samba. They're sacrificing entertainment for diversity and wokeness, and I don't think that's going to go down very well.
Fantastic. Esther Krakue, always great to chat to you, and thanks so much for your time, and we'll speak next week.